This viewpoint is beautiful, and it's a reminder that you don't find terrain like this in older versions and never will. Hello, I'm Toycat, and the Minecraft developer behind the new world generation in Caves and Cliffs, Henrik Nieberg, recently posted this picture to Twitter where he showed what the new generation would look like if there were no caves or other surface features. And although objectively this is a worse, more boring Minecraft, I'm so fascinated by this and I really want to explore it, and it reminds me of how the community has this big nostalgia for older updates. I mean, whether it's before Jungles or before Beta 1.8 or even going all the way back to InDev, I look at these screenshots and I go, yeah, this is a cool world that I want to explore. It's objectively worse than current generation, but there's something about nostalgia that we all just love. There's something about classic generation we all just love, and that made me realize that after the new update comes out, we're going to be a little bit nostalgic for our current generation with its current caves and its current cliffs, and I figured I would actually show you just how different the current 1.18 snapshots look when compared to our current generation. So to show off these changes, I'm going to be playing the Java edition because it has the latest terrain generation, but we'll be first of all playing in 1.17.1, typing in the seed everything here, and then we'll load up the latest experimental snapshot and show you just how different it actually is. And so here it is in 1.17.1. Everything is, of course, my Let's Play seed. It's got a little bit of a, personal sentimentality to it. It looks nothing like it did when I generated it back in 2012 on a different version of Minecraft. But as you can see, it's got this really nice mountain biome right at the spawn now, complete with goats, complete with everything else. And then also, as you can see, looking over here, let's turn up the render distance. Anyway, so as you can see with our slightly expanded render distance, there's a village just over there, but otherwise, it's pretty flat generation, and most notably is you're going to see some very small surface kind of lakes is what they're called, but they don't really look like lakes, and then also what you're going to see is this very, I would say stereotypical, generic, whatever the word is, but these very common, cave entrances where you can just enter straight into a cave which will go a few blocks deep. Some of these caves chain into other caves, and you can go really, really deep down, but for the most part, it's a great way to get iron, and then if you want to smelt that iron, it's a great way to get coal in the early game. I find these to be wonderful, and they're available in pretty much every plains biome, and even biomes that aren't plains will have some version of something like this. It is quite nice, but as you can see, looking around survival, it is a very, very flat experience. There are hills, and there's even a mountain biome behind us, but we can still see everything very clearly, and if we want to ignore the hills, if we want to just continue going flat, we can go in this kind of we'll call it northeast to keep things simple direction. Wait, actually, we can just look at the sun. The sun rises in the west and sets in the east. No, it rises in the east and sets in the west. So if that's east, that is north. So if we go to the northeast corner of our world, then you'll see how we can kind of, again, there's a little hill here. This is the size of a hill right now, by the way. Look at how that goes up a whole 10, 15 blocks. It's crazy. And also look at all the animals we're finding as we go past here. It's a nice experience that's easy enough to get us right over to our first ocean. That's nice. It's got a village in it. This is wonderful. So villages are expected to remain the same. However, the ground underneath it might not necessarily. So this is what the village looks like now, but it could be entirely different. By the way, another mountain here, and then another mountain way off in the distance. This is actually a pretty mountainous seed for 1.17, which is why I think it will be a especially fun comparison when we load up the experimental snapshots. If we head back towards the northwest, because we've reached the coast, I don't really want to explore that too much more, you'll see how, again, relatively flat, a huge swath of land between us and that spruce taiga biome right there, and when there are hills, again, they generally are just 5 or 10 blocks. It's not a huge deal to get over or around or through them, and again, this kind of, I would say I would characterize our current generation as being very flat by comparison, of course, but also just being very flat in comparison to itself. Plains biomes right now tend to be very flat, and every other biome, if you chop down the trees, they're pretty similar in terms of elevation. If you wanted to flatten them and build, you could do that pretty much anywhere in this world without too much hassle, unless it was directly at the peak of a hill or a mountain. And yeah, so that is how I would characterize current Minecraft. Okay, so heading back to spawn, now let's give it a quick look in creative mode. I think most of this really needs to be checked out in survival because that's how you play Minecraft. At least most people do. However, it's always worth mentioning that in creative, it'll look something like this. So this is the mountain. As you can see, it's a bit more dramatic because you can see all of it here, but also this plains biome is way leakier than you would have expected before, and also this river that leads into this kind of basin over here is also something that we didn't really see because it was behind some trees and some elevation, but it was right there. There's also a swamp biome right next to this mountain that, again, I couldn't see because of the mountains already. This is a concern some people have about high terrain, is that you might start to miss biomes like this unless you go to the very peaks of them. And so yeah, there's a whole swamp biome with its own river and its own whatever you call the swamp water mess just over here, which is also very interesting. You know what, I can't contain it anymore. I need to load up the experimental snapshot and show you what it looks like by comparison now. And now here is that exact same world, but using the experimental snapshot with the latest and mostly finished 1.18 terrain generation, based on the interviews they've been doing about it. So the first thing you'll notice is it takes longer to load. I imagine that's one of the few things they will iron out and work on. Man, it really does take some time, huh? And, wait, this can't be the same seed, right? I'm spawning in a birch forest. There is no mountain biome in sight. But what there is that a jungle I saw? Is that a single jungle tree I see? Okay, so instead of spawning next to a mountain in front of a plains, you spawn in a forest next to a single jungle tree. Okay, you know, I'll admit, there's two other jungle trees in the distance, but it's still not a particularly big jungle biome. Oh, there we go. There is a full jungle biome over there. I guess this is just like the edge of it, or a microbiome or something like that. But as you can see, otherwise, you know, there's no way this is the same seed. Let me just confirm. Okay, you can double check for me that I've spelt everything just as I should. Like, this doesn't seem like it's for real, but we'll find out. Okay, no, this really is just how it is, huh? I thought there was at least some similarities in the seed, but this is so different, it's not even the same. I mean, it's the same seed, but is there really anything in common between the two worlds? I would argue, no. This looks like... If it looks like it's a different seed entirely, then it functionally is, right? I mean, even if we find some similarities, you know, that could be by pure chance. And so let's try and find the differences, I guess, more than anything, because right next to spawn there is not one but two rivers, and although this river looks right here looks kind of similar to our current rivers, like if you pay close enough attention here, you're like, yeah, it's slightly wider, but this could be a current Minecraft river. It's got much better gradients in and out. It doesn't have this awkward you know what, I'm trying to describe this, I'll use my hands. Kind of prior to this update, you'd have like a slope in and out, whereas now it's a much more natural, you know, like going in like that, like rivers actually be in most cases. But I think if we go across to the other river, we'll find something much more shocking. By the way, there are still these water lakes near the spawn. However, instead of being very shallow, they go much deeper now. These are kind of the replacement for surface cave entrances, and you can follow them down pretty deep if you still want to get iron. It's just if you try to mine that iron, you're probably going to take some drowning damage on the way up. In fact, I say probably, I mean definitely. Wait, no, okay, I took damage. But not much, only 1 heart. Everyone can take 1 heart on their first day, right? So yeah, the second river near spawn is much wider. This one, there is no mistaking this for a new Minecraft feature. I like the wide rivers. Like, it's going to be annoying on your first day having to cross this by hand, swim across, waste, what is this, like 9-10 seconds of your Minecraft day. No one wants to do that, but like, I think in reality, the boating experience is going to be much better because again, look over here, it gets even wider. In real life, rivers aren't just, you know, how you picture them with quaint little bridges like in Animal Crossing, but you know, the Thames River is ridiculously large and it's in a big city. I think the Rhine is another example. Like, that most rivers that are in cities, at least in Europe where we founded cities around them, generally are massive because you need a lot of water. And so yeah, I feel like Minecraft is better representing that nowadays. However, it's unmistakably different generation. Also, even though this is a relatively flat biome, it's a plains going into a savanna, you can see what I was talking about with like, the only flat areas now are mostly going to be either swamp biomes or it's going to be the rivers themselves. This is the furthest we can see in every direction from here, and it's only going to get worse if we cross this river. Okay, so now that we've crossed the river, you can see that like, yeah, actually these do provide a nice bit of like stability and visibility. However, in terms of building off them, it's a bit harder. Also, we do still have these surface cave entrances that look very much broadly the same. This one has a creeper in, but we'll have to ignore that for now. I would say it's actually a bit bigger than normal, but again, you can find cave entrances of this side right now. So let's try and find like a few more, just to see, just to show you like how different they really are in terms of commonality. So that is one cave entrance, and then this is not a second one. In fact, across this entire biome, we might not even find another one. Yeah, as you can see, looking around the rest of the savanna biome, there is not a single other cave entrance. Wait, maybe? Just maybe? No, that's just a savanna tree with nothing below it. So cave entrances are much fewer and further in between, but they're usually more significant. Oh, wait. Like this one right over here. This is a brand new type of cave entrance where instead of going straight to stone, as you can see, it's kind of dirty in the dirt sense of that word. And interestingly enough, you can follow it down, and it feels much more natural in my opinion. Oh, does it just... that just leads us out in another part of the biome. It's still very useful for getting stone, but again, this one doesn't seem to be very good for iron or coal, but some of these caves can be. And yeah, the variety of cave entrances should be much greater, whereas before it was all basically the same cave entrance regardless of biome or anything else like that. You know, there are so many creepers in the world today. You know, that's the real difference between worlds then and now, right? Another example of this microbiome concept, by the way, is this right here. This is a bit ludicrous. Again, they're going to tweak this some amount, I have to guess. But as you can see, there is a mesa biome this size. In fact, look at the... it's just 2 columns of mesa. Wait, sorry, I'm mistaken. That's 4 columns of mesa, and that's it. This is the size of the entire mesa biome. Obviously, this is technically mesa too, but it's kind of hilarious how small these can be, because they're designed to fit in the gaps between various biomes, I guess. Also, another new thing is instead of just a river right here, or instead of a lake, this is that weird gap in between that also combines cave, because it's an aquifer that will take you all the way down, should you want it to some pretty low layers. So now you can find gold straight from the surface. Actually, this is a mesa biome, you could always do that. In fact, I'm surprised there's so little gold below this biome. Oh, just next to that aquifer and the very sad mesa pillar, you can also see there is a dry cave entrance over here. And in this one, we should also be able to see a ton of gold. Oh, there we go. Gold, 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 gold. And then some copper, too. Nice. I'm going to get out of here. I might not be able to get out of here with my life intact. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of other things are broadly similar. So here is a village. It's an entirely different village because it's a different biome, because it's effectively a different seed. It does still have the occasional issue of things like this, where sand will spawn above it. You know, again, ravines are mostly not touched. Either are villages, either are desert temples. All of those things will be just as wacky and zany as they were before. However, I would argue Minecraft, 98% of the time, what makes a seed visually, you know, like what you're paying attention to at a seed is the natural generation, which is now much higher. Even that, you know, jungle biome over there, you can see, got a lot of height to it. The biggest exception on this seems to be the desert, which is relatively flat, not as flat as before, but relatively pretty flat. And then the water biomes are, of course, more flat than they were before, but everything else has a lot more curve and hillness to it. I do think on the one hand, visibility is objectively worse here than it was before, but on the other hand, it does look beautiful. Looking at the biomes with these natural hills in them, there's something about humans and how we see mountains and cliffs and all that sort of stuff that just loves this sort of thing, and that's why I'm going to give myself an elytra really quickly, because the elytra changes in current Minecraft don't really pull up a lot. If you don't know, you no longer use durability on an elytra as long as you're not using fireworks. Fireworks use durability, not using it. Basically, if you wanted to get height really quickly, you'd have to use one of these weird village buildings in the desert. It's a very rare situation, but one you should totally take advantage of post-update, by the way. But basically, you know, like previously you'd have to do something like this, but now look at all the high points there are to jump off the top of. This might be a revolution in actually gliding around your world and exploring it from this sort of perspective. And by the way, there is no speed nerf for flying with the elytra. It's only a speed nerf for flying with firework rockets. And so yeah, getting around is going to be relatively easy. And if you do want flat terrain, it's not like it doesn't exist. I mean, again, it's not perfectly flat here, but it's flat enough for most people to care about. However, I think it goes without saying that the old days of being able to find just massive, endless plains biomes that are basically flattened and ready to build on are gone. And I think that we are going to be seeing a wave of nostalgia for that sort of generation. And I think that's very interesting to say the least. Let me know what you think, though. When you look around at this new generation, do you feel inspired, or do you feel that little bit of a thing that every human intuitively has inside of them? We can make fun of nostalgia all we like, but there is a truth that there's just a certain desire for the way things have always been, even when they're worse than they are before, because, you know, like, the past is always more romanticized than the present. We can remove our negative feelings from the past. You can't remove your negative feelings from the present. You can't remove how annoying it is to have to fly over things and all this sort of stuff in current generation, but your past memory is always going to be just the positive ones, because and to me, that is a huge positive of the human brain. The fact that we can remember positive, you know, memories so strongly is a sign that, you know what, things are going to be alright. Right now, this terrible thing you're going through, hopefully, if you're lucky, you'll forget about it. And you know what? The terrible thing that Minecraft's going through actually isn't very terrible. Also, I think finding mountains is a little bit overstated in videos where people fly around in creative versus on the ground in survival. Even when you pick up an elytra, it's not that common to find these massively oversized mountains. In fact, I found 0 so far on this seed. I found a lot of creepers though. And so, just kind of keep that in mind, I guess. Reports of endless mountains have been greatly exaggerated. What is much more likely is you'll find a medium-sized mountain somewhere within a few hundred blocks of spawn, and then if you're willing to travel a few thousand blocks of spawn, you'll find these epic mountain peaks that you see in videos and thumbnails. And yeah, maybe that's a motivational message, maybe it's not. I don't know what you want to take from it. All I know is that I hope you all enjoyed this video, because I'll see you all in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Oh, wait, no, here's the point we were proving. We fly all this way, and we find a ravine, which is a nice ravine, don't get me wrong. Love it, love seeing these, and how slightly different cave entrances are. Lovely ruined portal, but then look at this. This is a new opportunity for me to fly my elytra off, and so if you're wondering where the footage at the start of the video came from, it's from the top of this mountain. So go watch the start of the video again. Don't actually, you know what? You got a busy enough Sunday happening. If you've got time, check out my live stream that happened earlier. It's part 11, so, you know, it's the perfect place to start watching a live stream series from. And, no, I hope you'll enjoy this video. Have a nice day, and remember, nostalgia is a powerful thing, but it's a cool reminder of how the human brain works. And I guess I'll see you all tomorrow for Let's Play Monday. Goodbye. Wow, yeah, up here it just looks like it's a flat terrain again. It's just we're actually 118 blocks in the sky. This is the flattest part of the world, I think. I think this is flatter than current terrain generation. I want to end my outro again and say, actually, you know what? The new mountains, in some cases, are an opportunity to get flatter Minecraft worlds. And also an opportunity to get those viewpoints, those vistas that we all crave and we all love. Look at this view. And this is with, you know, Minecraft Java render distance. Imagine, you know, 4 or 5 times this if you're a Bedrock player. And it's like, yeah, I'm excited for that. This will be the moment that gets you excited for Caves and Cliffs, in my opinion. But thank you for watching. See you all next time. Goodbye.